Live from WRAL News Headquarters in Raleigh, your number one source for local news. WRAL News, coverage you can count on.
Today, Durham city leaders address violence in the city. 8 shot in Durham, 3 dead in just 3 days. The mayor believes the numbers don't tell the whole story.
And a nice cool day today, even cooler tomorrow with more rain on the way. We'll time it out hour by hour and show you how much we expect coming up.
And President Biden meets with President-elect Donald Trump in the Oval Office with just 2 months until Inauguration Day.
In less than 30 minutes, the mayor of Durham and other city leaders are expected to address an increase in crime committed by Durham residents. Good afternoon. I'm Michelle McConaughey.
And I'm Dan Haggerty. Thanks for joining us. Jeff and Renee have the afternoon off. Williams says that the numbers don't tell the whole story. He spoke to WRAL's Sean Gallagher yesterday. Sean is in Durham now, waiting for this press conference to get started. Sean, this is, again, just one of many topics the mayor is hoping to cover today during this press conference.
Yeah, Dan, Mayor Williams is going to speak here right behind me in the city council chambers here in just about a half hour. He says that they're going to cover a number of troubling incidents, according to the press release. Specifically, they're looking at the sign hung on the American Tobacco campus that's been linked to a hate group, some racist text messages that were sent to college students here, and of course our own coverage that we've had on an increase in crimes committed by Durham residents in Wake County. Now, the last of those topics is something I talked to Mayor Leo Williams about yesterday. He told me it's unfair to paint the entire city for the actions of a few. Now, WRAL Investigates highlighted a 35% increase in crimes committed by Durham residents in western Wake County and Raleigh. And Williams says it's not reflective of Durham as a whole.
It says people are committing crime. It doesn't matter where they're from. You know, where they're from doesn't. I'm the mayor of the city. I'm not producing criminals, you know?
And Mayor Williams will be joined by the chairs of the school board and the county commissioners here. And again, that takes place at 12:30. We'll, of course, be there to ask him any questions that arise from this press conference. Sean Gallagher, WRAL News in Durham.
Time is 12:01 here in the WRAL Live Center. One thing we've been watching is the meeting between sitting President Biden and President-elect Donald Trump. They met within the past hour. This is them in the Oval Office. They spoke briefly there, and after congratulating Trump on his win, the President-elect responded, quote, "Politics is tough, and it's in many cases not a very nice world, but it is a nice world today, and I appreciate it very much." Trump also had a moment to speak with some of the House GOP leadership as well, giving praise even to Elon Musk, who will now be one of the co-leaders of the Department of Government Efficiency, a department that's not officially a federal government agency, but rather one that operates outside to consult with the White House. We'll be watching to see a little bit more of what unfolds with President-elect Trump's visit to the Capitol here in the WRAL Live Center.
That is an impressive fire in the background. I think it was roaring. Chris, thank you. We have another big development here. We've also learned that special counsel Jack Smith and his team plan to resign before President-elect Trump takes office. Smith's office is evaluating right now how to wind down the federal prosecutions against President-elect Trump. The Justice Department has had a long-standing position at this point that it cannot charge a sitting president with a crime. The talks between Smith and DOJ leaders extend beyond Trump's criminal cases, though, to questions about what to do with other defendants in the classified documents case.
Well, the morning got off to a very chilly start, and it will be noticeably cooler today all throughout the day and the evening. Meteorologist Chris Michaels is in the WRAL Severe Weather Center with how long we'll need the jacket and when we'll need the umbrellas, Chris.
Yeah, and there was definitely a need for that fireplace going, right? Just with how cool it is out there right now. And yeah, eventually we're going to trade the jacket for the umbrella heading into tomorrow. Enjoy the blue sky while you've got it. North Hills current temperature 55. At dew point at 35 is a sign of the drier air that's settled in here over the past few days, and it's more what you typically expect at this point in November. Let's go ahead and check out the rest of the afternoon. 1 p.m. we're at 57, 3 p.m. we're at 59, and it's about all we'll manage. Remember, with the earlier sunset means earlier cooling. Even by 7 p.m. we'll be in the upper 40s, so don't keep the jacket too far away just yet. It's not like it's going to be incredibly warm out there. We were in the 80s last week. Big difference here as we head into tomorrow. Perfect perfect chili and soup weather. It's going to be a chilly rain that develops for your Thursday, and high temperatures about 48 in Roxborough to about 54 in Raleigh. That's the average for mid to late December, so a little preview of that. Here's your hour-by-hour rain chances. We'll start out in the morning with about the western half of the area seeing some rain, so Siler City at 8 o'clock in the morning stands a better chance than maybe Goldsboro, but then eventually all of us getting in on the action, especially late morning, off and on into the afternoon Thursday. Turns very gradually scattered as we head toward tomorrow evening, so this is a widespread soaking rain that we really need, especially after Helene had passed through and things just got dry for about a month and a half. Tropics are still active though, 90% chance of development. I'll show you where that is likely to head as we go into next week. That's coming up.
We'll check back in. Thank you, Chris. The new consumer price index is out now, showing inflation did perk up a bit in October, though pretty much in line with expectations. WRAL's Laura Levine breaking down these latest numbers.
The latest economic report shows the changes in prices for goods and services here at places where we buy those everyday needs, such as the grocery store. Well, the new data indicates that we may not be out of the woods just yet. Now, the consumer price index indicates for the month of October a 0.2% increase. The CPI shows prices have risen 2.6% over the year ending in October. That figure would mark a slight uptick from the annual rate of 2.4% recorded during the previous month of September. This keeps the 12-month core inflation rate at 3.3%. A reminder, 2% remains the target rate in order to keep inflation on ice. So some experts worry the Federal Reserve is underestimating the risk of the economy overheating by giving back-to-back rate cuts. Board Chair Jerome Powell said in a press conference last week he's hopeful the economy is moving in the right direction.
We continue to be confident that with an appropriate recalibration of our policy stance, strength in the economy and the labor market can be maintained, with inflation moving sustainably down to 2%.
And Powell says officials could slow down or speed up the pace of rate cuts depending on how inflation and the economy evolve. They will meet next month. Laura Levine, WRAL News in Raleigh.
And let's see how the stock market is reacting. The Dow increasing. It has been on a tear despite the inflation numbers going up just slightly. We see the Dow continuing to rise.
Good tax planning now can improve your cash flow later. That's why 5 on Your Side is connecting you with federally licensed tax professionals to answer your tax planning questions. Keely Arthur is live in studio as Tax Pros on Call gets ready to kick off, Keely, in just a couple of hours.
Michelle, I love this event. Whether you want to save more, avoid penalties, or you have a problem with taxes, you can call our Tax Pros. I want you to take down this number, but don't call yet. It is 919-234-5007. Phone lines open this afternoon at 4 p.m. Enrolled agents are federally licensed tax professionals, and they'll be the ones answering when you call in. We spoke to one of our volunteers who loves doing this event every year.
I just like help talking to people and helping them as best I can with the issues that they have, and just, kind of calming them down, say it's really not that big an issue. It's nothing that can't be overcome.
We love that calm energy. Call these pros to ask about standard deductions, using leftover 529 money for retirement without a penalty, or how to deal with an issue you might be having with the IRS. Have a brief summary of your issue ready and call Tax Pros on Call starting today at 4. This is a very popular event. Phone lines get busy, but just keep calling and someone will answer.
That man was very chill. I liked his demeanor. Some drivers, thank you to Keely, some drivers out on the road are going to need that composure as well, because in Raleigh we have some new overnight closures near a few I-440 ramps to tell you about this week. WRAL's Kelsey Coffey explains crews are going to be working on that I-440 bridge that goes right over Western Boulevard.
There's some good news and some bad news for drivers today. The good news is that this 440 bridge project here is happening right on schedule. The bad news is the entire 440 widening project, that's still running behind. Let's take you to a map here so you can see the area that will be impacted by overnight closures this week. Crews will close the eastbound lanes of Western Boulevard first, then they'll close the westbound lanes. Drivers can expect to see more ramp closures on the Beltline over the next few weeks.
With these changes, People need to pay even more attention than they have been. Read the signs. Make sure you know where you're going, because we want our construction workers to go home to their families just like we want you to make it home to your family.
This bridge construction is set to be complete just before Thanksgiving, but the entire 440 widening project, that's not set to be done until next fall. Kelsey Coffey, WRAL News in Raleigh.
Some more work to tell you about. Big changes also coming to Lake Wheeler Road, right between South Saunders Street and Maywood Avenue. Right now, Lake Wheeler Road is a 2-lane road with no pedestrian or bike lanes, but that's about to change. Improvements include roundabouts to help slow some traffic and allow a smooth traffic flow, sidewalks, bike lanes as well, and a raised median to help reduce unsafe turns. Construction on Lake Wheeler Road is expected to begin next winter.
Covering Edgecombe County, Amazon purchased land in Tarboro. That's according to documents obtained by WRAL from the County Register of Deeds. The land is located at the Tarboro Commerce Center. That's situated just off of Highway 64 and McNair Road. Now, it's not clear whether Amazon plans to build a warehouse, a fulfillment center, or sorting center on that land.
Next, here at noon, starting this weekend, you could park for free in downtown Raleigh, but only for the first 2 hours and only a handful of parking decks. So they got a few rules you got to pay attention to. We'll explain in just a few minutes.
Also, police raid a home and find drugs, guns, and an alligator. We'll explain what they did with this gator.
That's a big guy there.
Yeah.
Governor Cooper also announcing $1 million for more public school field trips, but only certain destinations are going to qualify for this program. That's ahead at 12:30.
Keep watching WRAL News over the air Channel 34 and Spectrum Channel 1257.
Welcome back. Time now just coming up on 12:13 as you look live over North Hills. Beautiful blue skies. You're watching WRAL News, available on YouTube TV and the WRAL app on your TV or streaming device.
A police pursuit in Fayetteville leads to a break in a case of a delivery driver who was carjacked in Hoke County. You following those dots there? Deputies say someone carjacked a delivery driver's vehicle Monday night on Independence Drive. The delivery driver wasn't hurt, fortunately, but then last night, officers in Fayetteville spotted that stolen car. They chased the car until its driver crashed. 3 people inside that car ran off. Officers detained one of them, a juvenile. They also found 2 guns in the vehicle.
Raleigh's free parking pilot program starts this Friday. It's not totally free. Just the first 2 hours are free of charge. This will apply at a few downtown parking decks: Blunt Street, City Center, Moore Square, the Municipal Building, and Wilmington Street Station. This pilot program runs from Friday until the end of February, and then the city will look at whether to make this a permanent thing.
A really scary moment in Boston when some sheet metal fell from a skyscraper right in that downtown area. Boston police releasing this video. Check it out. I mean, imagine getting hit by that. It could have been deadly. This is that incident. It happened last Friday right outside of the city's train station. So a lot of people going in and out, walking through that area. That big piece of sheet metal plummeted from the sky and somehow didn't hit anyone, thank goodness. The Boston Globe did report that the metal was a piece of rigging that fell from a 46th floor of the skyscraper there being built right across the street. Boy, lucky folks there. Or unlucky, depends how you look at it. Several Australian airlines have had to cancel some flights to and from Bali after an erupting volcano gushed a column of hot ash miles into the sky. Indonesia has close to 130 active volcanoes, sits on the Pacific Ring of Fire, as they call it. This specific volcano is located on the remote island of Flores. The volcano began erupting a week ago, is blamed for at least 10 deaths at this point. More than 12,000 people have had to be evacuated, but that figure could change depending on the severity of the volcanic activity.
People in China are investigating the deadliest public attack in a decade. 35 people are dead, 43 others hurt after officers say a man plowed his off-road vehicle onto a sports complex and hit people who were exercising. Police say the 62-year-old driver tried to escape. Officers say the man used a knife to cut his neck and remains unconscious. The man was reportedly unhappy with the outcome of a divorce settlement. Michigan State Police detectives found something strange while raiding a home. an alligator. They seized drugs, guns, and some other stuff, but the alligator was certainly unexpected. Officers turned it over to a local animal shelter. A suspect was arrested and is awaiting charges. Police did not specify why the search warrant was executed.
I love it. It's a big tray of guns and drugs. But everybody's like, hey, there's an alligator. Are you seeing that? Holy cow.
Yeah.
So the Omni Grove Park Inn will be reopening just in time to celebrate the holiday season. I know so many people were so disappointed learning, that maybe there would be some things closed in that area. The inn will start welcoming guests for overnight stays this Friday. The spa has reopened. The golf course is open and available to book some tea times. Dining will be available for overnight guests. While the gingerbread competition was canceled, competitors are displaying their creations at businesses around Asheville, so you can go into town and enjoy those there.
And they need this now more than ever.
They really do.
They really do. Yeah. All right. Well, it's feeling kind of like the holidays today.
It was cold. Chris Michael's joining us now. Maybe because the weather was so warm, I'm being a baby about this, but it felt cold this morning, Chris.
I think we're all kind of being babies about it now, because last week we were in the 80s. It's been one of the warmest falls on record. So, yeah, when you have these cold days, it kind of hits a little different. Current temperature in the mid-50s as we look at Salem Street and Apex. Things getting busy here at the lunch hour. Nice sunny sky over western Wake County. Hour by hour, your forecast doesn't show a whole lot of rise in temperature. We have that breezy northeast wind, which is going to keep the cool air locked in for the time being. High temperatures upper 50s. By 6, 7, 8 p.m., we're already dropping into the 40s, and that's where we're going to camp out overnight. Reason being is we see more clouds moving in, and then temperatures barely rise heading into tomorrow. A chilly rain on the way, and high temperatures about 48 to 54 degrees. I was actually kind of surprised by this. This is the average high for right around Christmas, so I know if you're like me and you got ahead of yourself and you decorated for Christmas, at least tomorrow, it's going to feel like the holiday season. Futurecast, here's 4 o'clock in the morning, and most of the rain is going to be in the upstate of South Carolina and western North Carolina. Let's fast forward to about 7 a.m. and you see folks maybe in parts of Moore and Chatham and Lee counties getting in on some light rain, whereas in Wake and Johnston counties, you're probably awaiting the rain up until about 8 or 8:30 in the morning. From there, it's pretty much steady off and on. Here's 1 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. You notice low pressure off toward the south. That's going to be slinging some moisture in our direction, and that could lead to some heavy pockets of rain to the afternoon, the evening tomorrow. And then as we go beyond, say, midnight tomorrow, heading into Friday, the heaviest and the widespread rain is going to be toward the eastern half of the state. They're also going to see some pretty gusty wind along the Outer Banks. A little bit of wraparound moisture heading into Friday morning, most of that north and east of the triangle. But this is some needed rain, right? Ever since, a month and a half ago, just seems like we haven't had a whole lot. There you see rain totals anywhere from about 3/4 of an inch to I could even see some totals of 1.5 inches. That's not going to go causing any flooding because of how dry things have been. It's been the 3rd wettest year to date on record, but a lot of that has to do with July, August, September. We've seen maybe 1/2 inch of rain ever since the 1st of October. So what we see tomorrow is more than what we've seen over the past month and a half. In the tropics, this is what we don't want to see. 90% chance of development in the Western Caribbean. For now, it meanders, and then by next week, it gets pulled north. Let me show you what I'm seeing in the pattern. The data is going to be all over the place, but here's the pattern for the time being. High pressure keeps it locked in through this weekend, almost acts like a goalie, but then as it moves off toward the east, you see it trying to pull it north. Cold front comes in and kind of saves us heading into the middle of next week. Unfortunately, this could be a storm that impacts Florida, but as far as direct impact in North Carolina, looks pretty unlikely. Here's the next 7 days here at home. 50s today and tomorrow. We're back in the 60s Friday. This weekend looking really nice. So we get the beneficial rain, but it's out of here just in time for the weekend. Lows in the 40s, highs in the 60s, guys.
An update here in the WRAL Live Center. Within the past 10 or so minutes, we have learned that we've been reporting about this shooting on Leadenham Street over in Durham. 2 different cases of shootings, one on Sunday and one reported the other day. We have learned that one person who died, originally the press release from Durham police said it was a man that died. It turns out this was a 17-year-old boy who died. Now, it's quite possible this could be a topic of discussion in the next 10 or so minutes when Durham's mayor addresses a WRAL report that talked about crime happening in Wake County committed by those who are from Durham. We'll have coverage of that starting in the next 10 or so minutes.
All right, thanks, Chris. Lawmakers are meeting in Raleigh today to reduce child deaths in our state. Their plan to keep guns out of kids' hands and strengthen safe gun storage legislation.
Then a little later tonight at 5:30, a major development could be coming to downtown Fuquay Varina, where officials are considering to bring new shops and apartments. And after the break, more states are making it easier for workers to see what companies pay for an open position. Where North Carolina stands on this.
Plus, not much denim to see on this pair of jeans, just a whole bunch of stuffed animals. What the fashion designer behind this is charging for the creative clothing. A lot. A growing number of states have laws on their books requiring employers to disclose pay ranges for open positions, either in their job postings or during the hiring process. Today, Washington, D.C. and 13 states have to pay transparency laws in place, but North Carolina is not one of them. The laws are designed to close pay gaps for women and minorities. Federal laws prohibit wage discrimination based on gender and other protected classifications. Well, when it comes to house hunting, football fans hope to score a home near their favorite team. An estimated 20% of NFL fans say their loyalty to their favorite team played an extremely significant or highly significant role in their search for a place to live. 18% searched for features such as a covered porch or a built-in bar. 20% hope the property had a basement or a theater room. And a city or a neighborhood near a stadium that drove 18% of NFL supporters.
Lunchables are being taken off the menu now at schools across the nation. This move comes after Consumer Reports revealed that the sodium levels in these meal kits were just too high. But Kraft Heinz, which produces Lunchables, says they pulled the product because demand did not meet its targets. Some more money for public school field trips will be coming to North Carolina, where Governor Cooper says they'll get to visit in the years ahead.
And then the home of the Tampa Bay Rays will be fixed in time for the 2025 MLB season, but it won't be cheap. The plans to repair Tropicana Field after Hurricane Milton tore apart its roof. And as we head to break, here are your NC Education winning lottery numbers. Good luck.
Just shy of the 12:30 half hour here on WRAL News. I'm Chris Lovingett here in the WRAL Live Center. We're getting a breaking update from Durham Police regarding a story that we have been covering this week. On Tuesday, there was a reported fatal shooting that happened on it looks like Holloway Street and Bryce Street. And we're learning that the person who died was 31-year-old Christopher Hart, again, of Durham. He was found around 9:40 in the morning when investigators responded there. And what's happening here right now, we do see that we have a discussion that's going to be happening in Durham. The mayor is going to be addressing a WRAL report talking about how crime is being committed in Wake County from those in Durham. We'll have more updates for that here in the WRAL Live Center.
We will be covering that throughout the day. Chris, thank you so much. As we take a live look at the National History Museum, at least that's what's on the left. Every time we show this live picture from the WRAL Live Camera Network, I just pay attention to the large construction site over there. But if you have kids in the room, they're going to like to see the backhoes and that sort of thing. It's just one of the many educational buildings, though, the museum right here in the capital city.
Yeah, today Governor Roy Cooper announced that funding will give students access to more field trips. WRAL's Brett Neese is in downtown Raleigh with how much money we're talking, Brett, and which places could qualify.
Yeah, Michelle, before we get to that, I got to tell you, this is one of the coolest rooms here at the museum. We got an American alligator right here, and then I also have the jaws of a bull shark. I mean, how cool is that you can get up close with all of this science, all of this stuff right here at your fingertips for kids. And that's kind of why they did this announcement here. And the governor announced that there will be $1 million for this Learning Happens Here fund, and they're going to hope to add even more. That's just the start. Governor Cooper was here just a little bit a while ago, and you can see him here in this video interacting with some of the third grade students from the Explorers School as they discover the different fossils and animals that are in this room. The governor says the funding in this program will be prioritized to Title I or Title I eligible schools across the state. However, he says the funding will be made available to all Western North Carolina schools affected by Hurricane Helene.
We have about 100 places in North Carolina with parks and museums and aquariums that are great places for children to go. So this grant program will help make sure that more students can get the kind of field trip that you're getting today.
Applications for those grants, they are open today. They're open right now, and officials suggest applying at least 8 weeks before your scheduled field trip, and then the schools will be reimbursed after the trip. Live in Raleigh, Brett Neese, WRAL News.
Be careful with all those fossils, Brett. Don't break anything. A Louisiana law requiring now the 10 Commandments to be displayed in every public school classroom by 2025 is on hold. There's a federal judge sided with the challengers who say the law is likely unconstitutional. The plaintiffs claim it violates the First Amendment and pressures students into religious observance. In June, the state's Republican governor there, Jeff Landry, signed a law requiring all public K through 12 and state-funded university classrooms to display a poster-sized version of the 10 Commandments. Tonight, parents can learn about the next steps of Durham Public Schools' Growing Together initiative. Leaders there say the main goals there of this initiative are equity, access, diversity, and managing growth in Durham. The district will be split into 5 regions. Each will have equal opportunity and a base school. Tonight's information session will be from 5:30 to 6:30 at Hillside High School.
Well, do you have a tax question that you don't know and you want to ask? You can call Tax Pros on Call today. 5 on your sides. Keely Arthur is back now with us in studio with how you can take advantage of this free and anonymous service, Keely.
Michelle, I'm back talking about my favorite event. 5 on Your Side is partnering with the North Carolina Society of Enrolled Agents for this call-in event. It's from 4 until 7 this evening. The tax professionals on hand will be taking your calls, answering your questions. These agents are always staying up to date on the latest tax code changes. And at a time when there is just a lot of misinformation in general, these pros are a trusted source of tax information.
Oh, you can get some bad tax advice on TikTok. I don't watch it, but have clients call me and say, "Well, I heard this on TikTok." I'm like, "Oh Lord."
Don't listen to TikTok. Listen to James. Giving these pros a call can help answer questions that can really save you some money. Call 919-234-5007. Not yet, though. This event starts at 4.
Not everybody's an expert on TikTok. I can't believe that. Keely, thank you. So we're learning some more now about the extent of the damage from Hurricane Helene and what it could mean for future wildfires. Meteorologist Chris Michaels is back. He's in the WRAL Severe Weather Center. And Chris, some of the damage is really the worst our state has seen in decades from Helene.
Yeah, this is coming from the North Carolina Forest Service, where they said 27% of the affected area had at least some damage, making it the most damage that we had seen since Fran in 1996 or even Hugo in 1989. That was a big one for the western part of the state as well. State Climate Office said that at Charlotte they had a 66-mile-per-hour wind gust during the height of the storm. That was the strongest in a little over 5 years. In fact, the State Climate Office is actually one of the largest in the country, and what they do is they have something that's called an EcoNet, so it gets different observations from sites that you might not ordinarily hear about, like Frying Pan Mountain or Mount Mitchell, where they saw peak wind gusts anywhere from 85 to 110 miles per hour at the height of the storm. In Ashe County, you had 65-mile-per-hour wind gusts. That's in addition to the historic rain that Helene had brought. Now we haven't seen a whole lot of rain. So you've got the downed trees, you've got fallen leaves, and you've had this dry spell. The National Interagency Fire Center has parts of our state, including the mountains, under that wildfire potential throughout the month. A lot of that has to do with Helene's long-lasting impact. In fact, some of the trees that have fallen may not burn until even next year. So this could be one of those long-lasting impacts that we see from Helene. We're diving more into the details right now on WRAL.com.
It'd be interesting to read.
Your time is 12:38 here in the WRAL Life Center, and we've learned within the past 10 minutes that Senate Republicans have elected South Dakota Senator John Thune as Senate Majority Leader. And this is important because he will be stepping into the role as Senator Mitch McConnell is retiring after 18 years in that position. Several reports say the vote for the role came down between Thune and Texas Senator John Cornyn. The vote for that was 25-24, and previous votes had Florida Governor Rick Scott from Florida that was on that vote as well. So we'll be watching to see a little bit more about how this leadership is taking shape here in the WRAL Life Center.
All right, thank you, Chris. This week's Teacher of the Week always knew she wanted to work with young people.
That's right. WRAL's Ken Smith introduces us to an educator who found her calling in the classroom 5 years ago.
Ms. Jones. Hi. You are WRAL's Teacher of the Week. Congratulations.
No
yes.
Oh my God. No.
You are. When we dropped by to surprise Tanika Jones, it was Halloween. But this was no trick. It was all a treat, just like she is to her students at Cary High School.
I love working with the youth. I really do. Just making a difference. It's a passion of mine.
Jones leads the occupational course of study at Cary High School.
All right, guys, so we just started our unit for DNA, right?
This is a program for students needing a little extra help in getting prepared for life after high school. You work with occupational course of study. What does it mean to you to know you're helping these students? Because basically you're providing a safety net.
Yes, I have a, Rita Pearson says a quote where every kid, every student deserves a champion, someone who will never give up on them. And that's me.
Each and every day.
Each and every day, I give it my all.
And giving it her all is what she does best when it comes to the success of her students. Ken Smith, WRAL News.
What an honor. I love the surprise part of those stories. Unbelievable. So if you would like to nominate a teacher, you can go to WRAL.com. Just enter Teacher of the Week in the search box. You'll find everything you need.
Well, it's been more than 2 months since Hurricane Helene battered western North Carolina. People across the state are doing their part to help them rebuild. Coming up after the break, we'll tell you about a special benefit concert tomorrow that hopes to provide a song of hope. From food and clothing drives to benefit concerts, organizations across the state are doing their part to help our neighbors in western North Carolina in the aftermath of Hurricane Helene. Tomorrow, the Raleigh Youth Choir will hold a benefit concert to help music programs across hurricane-devastated areas. And joining us to talk about Songs of Hope are Christopher Short, the executive director of Raleigh Youth Choir, and also Jeremy Tucker, the artistic director. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
This is absolutely incredible. Christopher, we're going to start with you. Please give our viewers a brief history of the Raleigh Youth Choir.
Yes, so the Raleigh Youth Choir was founded in 1968 as the Raleigh Boy Choir, and a few years ago we made the decision to become an all-inclusive choir for all singers ages 6 to 18. It's grown tremendously over the past few years to over 125 singers split among our 6 ensembles, and we're really excited to be in a position to put on this concert.
Yeah, it's absolutely amazing. Jeremy, we understand there are 6 core ensembles. You were just saying how all the different colors around the music note represent those ensembles. How are they separated?
Yeah, so mainly it's by age, but we have incredible staff. So once we have our kids come and register for the choir, they're placed in the appropriate ensemble, and then we work with them with their musicianship and to give back and grow them throughout the year.
And how has it been working with these singers?
It's one of the most fulfilling things that any artist can do is to work with young voices. I think we underestimate what they can do with their talents and also how they give back to the community. So we have kids from kindergarten all the way till 12th grade in one of those 6 core ensembles.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
And Christopher, tell us about tomorrow night's event. What can we expect out of this?
Yes, so tomorrow night's event is the Raleigh Youth Choir ensembles collaborating with dozens of local ensembles from around the community. There's going to be nearly 600 young singers coming together to put on this concert. And the hope is that we're going to raise some money for Notes of Hope, which is going to provide some relief to music classrooms across the parts of our state that were affected by the hurricane.
Wow, and what does this mean to you guys to be a part of all of this?
Well, we know that music is something, and arts are something bigger than one person. And so we want kids to be able to experience that within the community. And so to me, it's very humbling to be able to watch kids be able to see themselves in a service spirit, using their voice to give back to kids. So I think it's pretty powerful to watch these kids
Yeah, it's exciting to also offer a space for this huge level of collaboration in a venue like Raleigh Memorial Auditorium. It's going to be a pretty exciting event, and we're certainly looking forward to it.
Oh, we are looking forward to it as well. Christopher and Jeremy, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon.
Thank you.
And you can take a look at your screen here. Song of Hope takes place tomorrow at 7 p.m. in Raleigh Memorial Auditorium at Martin Marietta Center for the Performing Arts. Tickets are still available. Our very own Ken Smith will host this spectacular event. Christopher Short, Jeremy Tucker, thank you and have so much fun with this.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Dan?
Chris, can you sing? You any good?
No. I try in the shower and that's about it.
Shower and car. I put on concerts.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm not selling any tickets. That's a private show. Yeah.
Hey, look, we got some nice weather. People who love fall are finally getting a taste of it.
Exactly. Last week, I know for folks that like fall, you probably weren't enjoying the 80s. Now, I think you're digging what you're seeing and what you're feeling. Plenty of sunshine, some high-level clouds as we look from our tall tower camera in southeastern Wake County. Some of you may even call it sweater weather today. Temperatures in the upper 50s up until about 3 p.m. By 5 p.m., the earlier sunset, that's when we start to cool things off a little bit. And then temperatures kind of camp out in the low to mid 40s overnight, especially as we see more clouds moving in. That's going to prevent them from dropping any further. Still going to be chilly, still going to need the jacket first thing tomorrow morning. Here we are, Raleigh, Durham 43, Fayetteville 46. Roxborough may briefly get into the upper 30s. Temperatures may actually rise a little bit as we head into the morning. And that's when we start to see some rain coming in, especially after 7 or 8 o'clock in the morning. Here's a few things to watch out for. Because we've been so dry, some of the oils just kind of collect beneath the road surface. They come up when it rains, makes things a little slick in addition to wet leaves. Just take it extra careful first thing tomorrow morning as the rain starts to move in. Going to be a chilly one with high temperatures across the board, mostly 50 to 55 degrees. So raincoat is going to be needed pretty much off and on throughout the day tomorrow. Here's 6 o'clock tomorrow morning. Most of the rain at that point is still just west of our viewing area. We'll fast forward to about 12 o'clock, and you see during that time frame, the rain becomes a little more widespread. So the lunch break tomorrow is going to be a wet one. And then off and on through tomorrow afternoon, we'll start to see some heavier pockets as low pressure to the south helps to pump moisture in our direction. And then as we head toward tomorrow night, very gradually you start to see the rain pushing north and east of the triangle. That's essentially where it's going to stay as low pressure pivots off the coast. So by Friday morning, I could see some scattered light rain showers north and east of the triangle. Friday afternoon is going to be a little drier for us. Let's take things into the tropics briefly, because we do have a 90% chance of development even this late in the season. This is likely to become Sarah in the Western Caribbean. It'll get pulled north heading into next week and potentially toward Florida. What was interesting is that Ken Smith asked me this morning, he's like, how rare is it to have a hurricane in the Gulf in the month of November? So we looked back. There have been 7 November hurricanes in the Gulf since 1851, but there have been 5 over the past 15 years, one of which was actually just last week. It was Hurricane Rafael. That storm is no more. Let's bring it back home here for the next 7 days. Chilly for today and tomorrow. Heading into the weekend, that's when the weather starts to improve. So it's kind of nice. We get the beneficial rain, but as we make our weekend plans, things start to dry up for us. The mornings will be in the 40s, afternoons will be in the 60s, and then we start to warm up a little bit next week. High temperatures Monday and Tuesday in the 70s.
North Carolina roller coaster. Thanks, Chris. Well, one fashion designer is taking the industry by storm. How sales of these very original jeans could outpace production.
Boy, those are ridiculous. The winning Mega Millions numbers are 18, 31, 33, 64, 68. The Mega Ball is 17. The multiplier is 3. If you won, you could get some of those bear pants. We're back after this.
Just got this update in the last 10 minutes in the WRAL Live Center. The mayor of Benson, Jerry Medlin, has died at the age of 87. He died in his home, and we're being told that he had a recent cancer diagnosis. According to this press release from the town of Benson, he was a tall in stature with a booming voice and a big smile, and he did a lot of things for the town of Benson.
Oh, that's some sad news. All right, thanks, Chris. As we wrap things up, here's a look at a few of the headlines we're following today. Happening right now, Durham leaders are holding a news conference discussing several shootings in the city. This is a live look at that meeting underway right now. The city's mayor said this is a time for the community to come together. In just the last hour, we've learned one of the people killed in recent days was 17 years old. Leaders also addressed a recent story from WRAL Investigates about an increase in the number of people coming from Durham into Wake County committing crimes. We spoke with the mayor about the story yesterday. He shared his perspective. That's on WRAL.com.
Heads up for people who drive in Raleigh about some new overnight closures near a few of the I-440 ramps this week. Crews are going to be working on the bridge that goes over Western Boulevard. That is good news and bad news. The good news is that the I-440 bridge project is right on schedule. The bad news is the overall widening project is still a bit behind schedule.
Today, Governor Roy Cooper announced $1 million that will give students access to more field trips. The governor says the money will be prioritized to Title I or Title I eligible schools across the state. However, he says the funding will be made available to all Western North Carolina schools affected by Hurricane Helene. Applications for the grants are open right now.
3 childhood toys will be inducted into the National Toy Hall of Fame. My Little Pony, Phase 10, and Transformers were chosen by a panel of experts from a lineup of 12 finalists. My Little Pony was a finalist 7 different times before finally being inducted. The game Phase 10 is a game. It's not a toy. I'm not a judge. I don't have a say.
All right, well, judge these. You could say a new pair of designer jeans are stuffed with nostalgia. Chad Nazem sent out to make a pair of pants that weren't boring, and we'd say that he succeeded. The 27-year-old fashion designer hand sews hundreds of Beanie Baby-like stuffed animals on pants, and he can't keep them in stock. The pants went on sale in April, and he has developed a star-studded client list with hundreds on order. The stuffed animals are only sewn on the front, so sitting down is not a problem. By the way, the pants sell for $650 a pair. Yeah. He's 22 years old. He is a YouTuber, and he started sewing these pants, and he's making a lot of money.
Worth it.
Yes. All right, well, our pet of the day comes to us from Cat Angels NC. This is Riki Tiki Tavi, but you can just call him Riki for short. He's a very affectionate and active boy who loves to be with people all the time, and he loves to snuggle. Riki gets along with other cats, but he'd also like to do well as an only cat if his human is home a lot. He's very needy. If you're up for a lifetime of snuggles, then fill out an application and make an appointment to meet him in person.
Nothing wrong with a needy cat.
No.
Yeah, they need love.
No, I understand it. Yeah. Well, NBC News Daily is next on WRAL, your next local news update in 30 minutes.
You can get breaking news updates anytime on the WRAL News app. Thanks for being with us here at noon. Have a great day.
Keep watching WRAL News over the air Channel 34 and Spectrum Channel 1257.